Thank you. Thank you. It's written by Leonard Cohen. It's no secret. He was extremely instrumental in my own emotional healing. For at least 2 years, I listened to nothing else but Leonard Cohen. So today they're playing two of my favorites. That's one, Come Healing. The other one will be Anthem. Sabra gave us that, which is a quote from the song Anthem. So I want to talk about healing, and there are a lot of facets to healing. But I'm going to say number one, and if you never remember a thing I've ever said, remember this. It is essential to shift your identification to knowing that you are a spiritual being. You are a spiritual being, and you're having a human experience, right? And that entails a lot of stuff. The good, the bad, the ugly, the fun, the not so fun. We're here to experience it all. And even though we are a spiritual being, we're all that same spiritual being, part of that oneness. We're all uniquely different. We all have different bodies. We have different challenges. We have different experiences. But we can become healers regardless, as long as we're not too picky about what healing is and what wholeness is. The vision that you hold in your mind is key, absolutely key. Now, you know, I would like to be 3 feet taller. I can visualize that, but it's probably not going to happen. I don't know. After last Sunday's sci-fi, they can put a little nano chip in there and I'll grow a few feet. I'm just kidding, of course. How you perceive yourself makes all the difference in the world as to how happy you are and how much you are enjoying this experience. All healing is emotional healing because it's all energy. It is all energy. We don't know what we don't know, right? Have you ever noticed that you don't know what you don't know? I'm going to share 2 experiences in this talk. One was when I was in elementary school, and I go into the classroom and we had a substitute teacher. Okay, cool. I sat down in my desk and other kids were coming in and all of that. And she comes up to me and she said, "Would you put this bracelet," it was this arm right here, "would you put this bracelet on me, please?" I said, "Sure." So I put it on. Eventually, the class got started. She was standing up there teaching, and I was really enjoying her presence. And all of a sudden, I noticed she had only one arm. I'm thinking, how did I miss that? And I'll tell you how I missed it. I wasn't expecting to see anything other than my assumption. My assumption is we're all basically alike. No, we're not. I didn't notice. Now, in medicine, we have x-rays, right? X-rays can show us what's on the inside when we can't see. And that is very helpful. But spiritually speaking, we need to have x-ray vision for ourselves. We have got to turn our awareness inside our consciousness and ask ourselves, what do I believe is possible? What do I think? How do I feel? X-ray vision. There's a difference between what we believe and what we expect. I believe it's possible for me to be a billionaire, but I don't expect that's going to happen. I don't know. Keep buying those lottery tickets. You never know. You never know. Expectations. So as a spiritual being, what do you expect of yourself? Our demographics here are different than a lot of places. And we might find ourselves unconsciously thinking, well, at my age, well, let me tell you, age has nothing to do with healing. Nothing. Because the real you is the spiritual being I'm talking about, and it is ageless. It is ageless. Now, we may feel our age, and that's okay. That's part of the human experience. But know the truth that will keep you from worrying, keep you from being depressed, keep you from all of the emotional stuff that can manifest in the body. So, that's what I want you to know. Number one, you are a spiritual being regardless of the state of your body. Live with that knowledge. I also want to talk about visualization, how important that is. I didn't see that teacher only had one arm. I just didn't see it. What do you see for yourself? Your aches and pains, do you own them, or do you see them just passing on by? Just passing on by. I've taught myself to say, well, isn't that interesting? Without judging myself. Isn't that interesting? I'm having this experience today. Visualization. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And the reason visualization is so important, what we picture up here out pictures. Your mind is causative. Your thoughts are causative. Plant in your mind what it is you want to experience. That's an affirmation. Put it in your mind and return to it often, because we can't just think once, okay, I'm happy, healed, and whole. Ta-da! If there's something I'm working with to heal, and it can be physical, it can be mental, it can be emotional, because we're a complex being here. We're not just one dimension. Return to it often. Do it in the morning. Do it midday. Do it in the evening. Remember what it is that is the truth of who you are. Most of us know the story of Myrtle Fillmore. If you've been around Unity a while, you know her story. Myrtle Fillmore is co-founder with Charles Fillmore of the Unity movement. Myrtle Fillmore had tuberculosis. Her grandmother had it, her mother had it, and they told her, thoughts planted, you'll get it too, and you're going to die from it. Sure enough, she got tuberculosis, because that's what she expected would happen to her. She got tuberculosis, and she was given just a few months to live. All the symptoms you can imagine. Well, she was taking a metaphysical class with E.B. Weeks out of Chicago, metaphysical class, and she heard him say, you are a child of God, and therefore you do not inherit weakness, sickness. You do not inherit that. And the light bulb went off in her head. She shifted her identity. Number one, she had a realization. I am not my body. I am a spiritual being. Okay? She had a realization. And after that realization, very important thing that she did, she apologized to her body. She did. She said, I have called you weak and infirm when you're really a radiant being. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is crucial to healing. Crucial. So if there's anyone, any situation, anything that you haven't forgiven, work on that. And it may take repetition, repetition, repetition. 70 times 70, right? Every time it comes up, and you can tell if there's unforgiveness still there because it's energy. Everything is energy. It's an energy of sadness. It's an energy of anger. It's the story that we tell to ourselves that supports that energy. Work to forgive it. Forgive yourself and all other people, any situations. Very key to healing. So she had the realization, and then, oh, I was really happy with what I wrote. Let me see. She realized, and then she apologized to herself. And then after that apology to herself, she visualized. She visualized herself being healed from tuberculosis and anything else in her life that was keeping her from being the spiritual being, from expressing that. Anything else. In 2 years, she was completely healed. And she went on to live for 45 years. And everybody knows Myrtle Fillmore was the prayer consciousness. She was the heart of the unity movement. Charles Fillmore wrote all the books. He was the head. The head and the heart together manifested a movement. A movement. That's what we call it. People say, are we a denomination? Are we this? Are we... we're a movement. Which means we need to move. You know? We need to put this into action if we expect our lives to be healed. Our lives to be healed. And who among us doesn't have a healing need, right? Because that's the nature of a human experience. Okay, I want to tell you one other thing, another story. When I was in Kansas City, and I was the CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries, I belonged to a cohort group of CEOs in the Kansas City area. And the organization was called Vistage, and we had a coach. And that's where I learned a lot about cybersecurity and this and that. One day, I go into the room where we were meeting, and there's a woman standing there. She's our presenter. And I said hello, and she said hello, and I sat down. And we go around the room, and we tell who we are. And I said, well, you know, my office is at Unity Village. Have you ever seen it? And she said, no. And I said, oh, it's a beautiful place. Hope you can get there. All right. What I didn't see was her seeing eye dog under the table. And she told her story. I never even noticed. Her poise and her presence was so beautiful. And she said, you know, I was in high school when I started to lose my vision. And she went on to become a Methodist minister. And she became a chaplain. And then she told the story that I will never forget. She was a chaplain in a hospital. And there was a young woman who was anorexic and practically gone. She said, normally I don't go into a hospital room unless I'm asked. But one of the other doctors and nurses asked her to go in there. And because she was blind, she couldn't see the state that this young woman had deteriorated into. Everybody else had shock, horror, but not this woman, because she couldn't see. And yet, she saw into her heart. Saw into her heart. And when the young girl realized that she wasn't reacting like everybody else did, then she realized You can't see me. And that realization for that young woman liberated her. And she went on to heal herself. What do you see when you see another person? Do you have x-ray vision? Can you see past the imperfections, the mistakes, the betrayals, the crazy thoughts? Can we see past all that? And it sure takes practice, I'll tell you. Catch myself all the time. I was taught, being a minister, you don't confess in front of your congregation. So, anyway, what do you see when you look in here? Who are you? And who's the one you're looking at, right? Only beauty, only love. Because as spiritual beings, that's what we are. That's it. Unless I have an addendum, I'll let you know.